Obama, I'm not one who wants to wait and see.
Mm-hmm.
If I don't have a contract with you, then you have no reason whatsoever to meet my needs. And Obama has no contract with black folk. Black folk were people, and brown folk were the people who were just so happy, just because of the color of his skin. And the feeling that this is going to break through the racism of the United States and the white supremacists going to be knocked down. We got a man in, but without a contract. There's no contract. So we have to, we're in a prayer stage right now. Everybody's in a prayer stage. We're in a hopeful state.
Isn't it always like that with the president or a politician?
I don't know about
I mean, do we ever have a contract?
The first one we have ever had a contract. Generally, people say stuff like, I'm going to give you 2 chickens and a car in every garage.
40 acres and a mule.
40 acres and a mule. But he hadn't done it. He didn't say that.
No, he hasn't. He hasn't.
He has said stuff that would appeal to middle class white folk and middle class black folk. But to the broad group of the community of people, oh no, sir, there is no contract.
Well, do you think that
That's
was
why I brought up the death penalty thing. He's anti-reparations, but people who went through all of the Holocaust and the Africans went through anti that reparations. He's the stuff that he's anti. Pro scares me. He's pro-war.
Well, he is. That thing about Pakistan's worrying.
Afghanistan, very strong on the state of Israel in defense of it.
Yeah, yeah.
Against the Palestinians.
He's got.
We need to look at all of these things because they tell me something about the man. So I'm not expecting much of him, and I look at his appointees and they scare my hair off my head. Because I think his appointees, beginning with
Emmanuel, yeah.
Are just not.
Well, I was using
of the philosophy that he brought to the public.
Do you think he's maybe a transformative figure?
Who, Obama? I don't know. I just hope we don't get a major.
He's very eloquent.
I think
he's just like it's just. Yes, sir.
That if you are in politics.
Yeah.
See, I am not in politics.
No, I know.
In spirituality.
Yes.
In philosophy.
But you're pragmatic.
Yeah. Well, of course.
Yeah.
But the question is, to what degree is it in accord with my conscience?
Yeah.
With, universal ethics and so on.
Yeah.
See. But if someone is into politics, you play cards. It's like a card, right? You have to play the Jewish card, the Christian card, the capitalist card, or if
the middle class card,
the communist card. You know, you play cards
in order to get elected.
In order to, win. It's or it's like a chess game, right?
Right.
To do certain moves. If you don't know the moves, you're dead. So he has to play these cards, and these cards don't represent necessarily truth, or they represent what he actually believes. He may believe the opposite and play out the card that will sort of assure a certain degree of success in his political maneuvering. You see, now I would not do that. That's why I'm not into politics.
See, I couldn't trust that ethically,
but
not morally.
But you see, what will happen is really very unpredictable, and I am very much into believing that imponderables affect history. In other words, suddenly things happen coming from the left field. Whether we see 9/11 as a conspiracy or whether we see it as what it really appeared to be, it doesn't matter, but it happened, right? That produced a certain shift in history that nobody expected.
Right.
It suddenly happened. You got up in the morning, and within few minutes, suddenly it was flying and burning, and people jumping from windows and things. I mean, unbelievable.
Yeah.
I believe that this kind of imponderables play a great role, and we don't know what will happen.
That's right.
If someone would, let's say, detonate a tactical small nuclear bomb in New York,
or in how about in Tel Aviv?
Anyway, I don't think it will happen in Tel Aviv so easy because the Israelis are very much
Buttoned down.
Yeah, I mean, they
Let's
are
hope it
safer.
doesn't happen in
So far,
Iran.
they are safer than anyone else.
Yes, Iran or Afghanistan or something.
They
Yeah.
expected what they did, put them in mortal danger, so they have to do things in order to defend themselves. Whether the motive was originally positive or negative is beside the point. Yeah? But if something will happen that will be really how should I say, shuddering the people's minds and their emotions and their fears and everything would be just, put to a boiling point. In the name of security, almost anything can happen. And public relations, let's say they will start accusing the Jews from being guilty for all these wars and so on, which is an anti-Semitic thesis, but it could happen that people would be saying this. America will become as anti-Semitic as Germany under Hitler.
Oh, well, I don't know about
Well,
that.
He's right. It's already people are screaming that black folk have caused
I lived there.
But black folks
economic
are...
crisis because of the mortgage issue.
I remember.
So he makes a
You
good
mean the
point.
subprime thing?
Yeah. But
Well,
because
there's
of the
an
mortgage
inordinate
issue,
number of
that
black people
folk
are poor.
Had mortgages.
Yeah, but a subprime
Should not
mortgage.
have had mortgages.
Because they're poor. They're not supposed to be poor, is what I'm saying. They shouldn't be poor.
Yeah, but I'm saying that's the argument. The argument is that because of that, the crisis was created. But,
So they're going to blame the black.
No, they are. They don't real blame.
Again.
But we've been
Yeah.
through that all the time.
Yeah.
But my point is, I was real clear, and I stand on it, and I've always stood on it, and that is, yes, life is filled with swift transitions.
I couldn't hear it.
Swift transitions.
Yeah, right.
So you go from one point to the other.
Yeah.
You don't know where it comes from. and People say it's God, or in the secular world, they'll probably come up with some other
Or
argument.
synergies.
But to be very clear, I think that people build movements. That if they reach a critical mass, make the change. Change never comes from the top. Change comes from the bottom. And once people at the bottom begin to stand up and recognize what's happening to them, and I think we should be prepared for left and right. So I think we're going to get coming from the right wing of this country, mass movement, and I think we're going to get, I know we're going to get coming out of the black movement, but we're building on that, from the black and the Latin and the poor
From the left.
communities of the country. I don't want to call them the left because I don't like the word left.
You don't? Okay.
Black and left. No, people on the left is connected with ideology, unfortunately.
Okay.
So when people see left, people think socialist, communist, And even though they may be very socialist,
Not a bad idea, some people say. Yeah.
communist, they don't want to be associated with that because historically America created what? A stigma for that.
Yeah.
So I think that we're going to see these movements and they're going to come because you got mass poor. But on the other hand, you got something else that's reshaping in America, and that is mass unemployment.
Yeah,
Right
Lord.
now we talk about 9 million people as if they are not
People.
people.
Mm-hmm.
That, it's just a figure that you can quote. And you're going to give them 2 million jobs. You got 9 million unemployed, and Obama's got 2 million jobs. Well, people are listening, and they're asking the question, am I one of the 2 million? Will my job be there?
Yeah.
So I think that we're going to see is that coming down, and what you get is the clash in the center. With the new unemployed, many of whom were last year middle class, upper middle class, and now this year. And we saw it in '83 with Reagan. I remember very clearly people all over this country, mass homelessness, folks traveling from Youngtown, Clear, and all of the
terrible recession.
And we have a short memory in America, a very short memory. It's connected to nothing. But people who had once been running car lots and car dealerships were over in Texas being shot at by the people of Texas who didn't want a homeless community around them in some town. Killed down in Miami because they didn't want homeless people around.
Yeah.
So we're coming to that point again, and that is a point that I think we all have to be acutely conscious of because the right wing was buying up nothing but guns. A mass run on guns. coming into this election. But it was who was buying the guns. And I was looking at television programs. Some of these big assault things, $5,000 each. $5,000 an annual income for some people in America.
Yes,
you got
right.
Somebody with $5,000, the kind of money that's been invested in weaponry.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
And no way for the government, because of the Second Amendment, to even put any halt on that. That
Yeah.
has happened.
NRA is even stronger than APAC.
Oh, sure. And so we had better be acutely conscious that there is movement afoot in America, and that that's this attempt to streamline us from the top. I heard a young brother, in fact, he was over at MNN last week talking to one young man out of Philadelphia, was talking to another brother who apparently had a show, and he says, "Man, you got to be quiet. Just get in line and wait for the man to tell you what to do." And he's throwing around some names that I knew from the Civil Rights Movement. So finally I went out and met the young man, and it was discovered that he actually had been working with a goodly number of people connected to the Civil Rights Movement.
Okay.
But he was an Obama person who'd been organizing in Pennsylvania.
Right, okay, good.
And I'll take orders. And we wait on orders. He's going to tell us what to do. And so I said, well, what are we going to do on a day-to-day basis? Sister, you don't understand. We're going to wait. In other words, Obama has the answer.
Well, was this before or after the election?
This was after the election. This
After
was last week.
well, okay.
All right?
You had to make sure you get the man
He was
elected.
in the room with you, too. But you missed the conversation. Back then, I had a little dispute there. But so I said, well, what about, I just raised the deaf people as I raised it here with the professor. Well, what about deaf people? Well, that's yesterday's stuff. And I said, but the brother's sitting in jail today. Yeah, then he said, well, we're on two different sides. We got to understand that there's that kind of a thinking which thinks it's can streamline, but it doesn't understand it. One group I know, and that is, well, two groups, I should say, indigenous people.
The what?
There are two groups in this country that kind of thinking does not appeal to. That's indigenous people and black people. I know I come from those two groups.
Thank you.
So what's happening is that we got this movement that thinks it can keep a cap on things. And Dr. King, I can still hear him quoting Carlyle now. That if people pressed to the earth will rise again, you reap just what you sow. You know, it's a mass disconnect. People go on and so forth. And then they begin to move around the issues of how do we organize the unions for the unemployed, how we can organize unions, as Dr. King did, of communities. These poor people's campaign, Chicago, 1965, 66. How do we organize poor people into, not color groups, but poor people around the country who are unemployed and dispossessed? How do we organize these people so that they are empowered to do what? To take care of themselves, not be taken care of.
How do we do that? Lord Keynes, who was the major voice of, the whole thing after the Second World War, Democratic Party and that kind of stuff, he wrote a letter to his grandchildren, published in 1930. And he was a brilliant man. And he set up all this things. And he said, we're going to be, your grandchildren, that's about now. He said, beyond the outsourcing to third world slave labor and all that kind of stuff they can do, he said, we are going to be confronted with something that's hard for you to understand, and I think this is coming. It's going to be technologically induced massive unemployment. The technology is now, it's reached a limit where they can keep the capital all in so few hands, and they can just distribute all their income through labor, is coming to an end. And it's because the technology and the capital instruments are what are producing wealth. The image of a combine moving across the Kansas wheat field, they don't even have a driver in there anymore. It's just a big machine. And it just creates huge amounts of wealth, and it's all owned by a tiny class. And they're not going to need, like Mr. Ford needed people to stand on the assembly line, they're not going to need people to fill these job roles that they had. And Mr. Obama, all he talks about is creating jobs. He said, we're going to create 2 million jobs. You're going to make work. Well, no, but the point is, Mr. Keynes was perhaps correct. And that's a
Yes,
larger issue beyond outsourcing or anything. That's a larger issue which is going to call for a whole new economics, and it has not yet been proposed.
Yeah, but
Or how are we going to distribute income if we're not going to do it by jobs?
I haven't heard the professor's humanism yet.
Oh, this professor, yeah.
But let us be very clear.
Yeah.
Dr. King said something in '66, and I always remember.
66 was a long time ago.
1966.
I know, that was still a
In
long time
Chicago,
ago.
And he said, we're entering the age of cybernetics.
Thank you.
America will have to redefine her values.
Thank you for that. I didn't hear that.
One of the values America will have to redefine will be the value for work.
Go ahead.
What do you do if industry is dead? He didn't say this part, but industry died, and that's Kohler talking.
Yeah, yeah.
Industry died in 1990, technically. It's over.
Mm-hmm.
It's gone. Pennsylvania lost 200,000 manufacturing jobs. We could go around the country looking at the towns and cities that were near put out of existence for just the loss of manufacturing jobs.
They're all gone
And yet,
overseas.
what we have a president suggesting, and what I'm hearing suggested from those close to him, is that we're going to create these jobs.
That's right. 2 million,
You
he said.
cannot create the jobs until you talk about redefining the value system.
Thank
we
you.
got basic work to do.
Fundamentally.
Yeah,
Fundamentally.
basic work, fundamental
Yeah.
work. We got that to do. Once we've done that, then Professor Keynes.
Keynes. Well, he's
Keynes,
passed,
Keynes,
of course.
That's Keynes economics.
Keynesian, that's demand side. Then you have supply side.
So his grandchildren would understand that granddaddy's
That's-
role as a socializer
Yeah.
may be as important as a person who was in the age of industry turning out automobiles.
That's right.
All right? So
Or the women the women, you don't have to waste their time taking care of the kids. They go pick up papers or some make work thing they could try and do too to distribute. In order to keep them like serfs on a feudal
That's correct.
estate.
That's correct.
All the assets are owned by a few.
yeah,
That's creating the wealth, and we're not going to bring any ownership to them as a stream of income. If that combine moving across the Kansas field, if let's say you have an ownership stake of one nut on a back wheel of 16 wheels or something, that could be a source of income apart from what you do. You have a source of income, then you're able to do what it is you want to do, like maybe stay home and be with the kids, and do something worthwhile.
Important function than a mother and a father raising children.
Okay.
And grandparents socializing children.
Yeah, but it's hard to raise children if you haven't got a source of income,
No.
Coley.
But when you redefine work,
Okay.
then you begin to understand the building the next generation of citizens. It's probably the most important thing you could ever do.
Couldn't agree with you more.
Right? So,
Yeah.
So all I'm saying is that, and I'm not the person who can do it. I'm thinking out of my
Well, good.
sorry head. That we are in a phase when we've got to begin to look at Keynes and look at the Kings. Their names are so much alike.
Martin King out. Coley, let me, before I lose it, Joseph, just for a second. Can you get me that quote from King about cybernetics? Do you have it somewhere written down?
In the age of cybernetics, America will have to redefine her values.
Is that a quote I can...
I'm quoting from Kohler's memory of sitting in the room with Martin every day.
Mm-hmm.
And among the values that need to be redefined will be the value for work. Martin King, you can probably find it somewhere too.
Okay, I want to find that. Yeah, thanks. Because I got quotes on my page. I'd like to add it to it.
Yes.
You know.
I'll see if I can find it.
Thank you. Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
See, the question is, who will do it? Who will induce the process that will lead to the re-evaluation of the values? I say what we need is a humanist movement, which would not be a kind of an authoritarian, moralistic thing, but which would allow people to see as much truth about life as possible. And that involves, education in psychology and sociology and what I call a religion of realism. You see, not some crazy religion. But a movement like that does not exist, and something similar like that movement also does not exist.
Mm-hmm.
There is no source that would have this impact on society, this human impact on society, that would really be based on humanistic values.
Okay, humanistic. How are humanistic values applied to an economy? How do you apply that to an economy? Because everything, in a certain sense, in the modern world, is defined by economic policy. How are you going to get income to people? How are you going to produce things? How are you going to accumulate capital in order for technological systems to be implemented?
I have produced a kind of a model of existential being.
Okay.
Where the major sources that determine, so to say, the processes in history are operative. It's too complicated to
Okay.
talk about it now. Maybe I will use it in my lecture.
On the 13th.
On the 13th.
Yeah, okay.
But without people having a democratic character, you cannot have democracy. Without people having a non-sadomasochistic emotional, so to say,
Consciousness?
not consciousness, but
mindset?
But mentality.
Yeah, okay.
You see, you cannot have compassionate people. You have only predators and parasites.
Dog eat dog.
We have to transcend the parasitic, predatory form of society into a society that is based on...
Did without money. We didn't have any money. But we did recognize that Russia was a pressure point. And as long as there was a Cold War thing, America couldn't take the international embarrassment. Case in point, Bernard and I, my first husband and I, set up the Alabama project, which King has got most of the credit for, but that's all right too. We came up to New York, August of 63, on a fundraising drive. And while we were here, we've been followed around Long Island by this
Who is
my first husband.
That was her first husband.
Bernard Lafayette Jr. is his name.
Lafayette.
Bernard Lafayette Jr.
Bernard Lafayette Jr. And he's not around
He's a doctor. No, he's still traveling back and forth.
He's still around?
He's a leading theoretician on nonviolence. Of course he is.
Really? No
We're
kidding.
the same age, yeah.
Okay, thanks.
In fact, I'm 8 days older.
Mm.
But
8 whole days. No wonder
whole
you're so
days.
wise. Yeah. You got 8 days on the man. Yeah.
90 years, which was really. And I was on the 90 end.
Yeah.
But we were being followed around by this man who kept taking pictures. So finally,
He kept what?
taking pictures of us. We couldn't breathe.
Yeah, well, sure.
If I went in the bathroom, he could try to follow me in there. Get a picture. I mean, really, I'm serious. I'm big as that right now. And who is this man taking all these pictures? And what's he going to do with these pictures? So finally, they cornered him and found out he was from Voice of America.
Voice of America.
And he was taking the pictures because they wanted to use the pictures to counteract, and I'm quoting him, to counteract the images of the dogs and hoses at Birmingham. Well, I had been I've been beaten pregnant, beat down half out of my mind. But I've got his foot broken, Selma, and I got some, and his head busted the night Medgar gets killed because they tried to kill 3 of them at the same time.
No.
Bernard Medgar and another brother out of New Orleans.
Mm-mm.
And so 2 of them survived barely. Bernard got 29 stitches.
Yeah.
And here I am in August of 63. Lost my best friend Medgar in Mississippi. Somebody's telling
You were friends with Medgar Evers?
I was Medgar's special assistant.
No fishing. Oh, I didn't know that, honey. You got roots go way back.
Special assistant to Medgar Wiley Evers, who was assassinated in Mississippi. But the thing about it was, here you are. Now I got somebody up here talking about counteracting the war. So we were fortunate. We had some professors who were in journalism at the University of Pennsylvania. They got lawyers, and we got rid of him, but not without a fight. I mean, there was a physical fight. This man was demanding to do these pictures. He'd been lying. First he said he was for Look magazine. Then he said he was with Life magazine. Obviously, he was an agent of some sort.
Yeah.
And just had to get their work done.
So how did it all come out?
It came out with a Japanese with telegram from what is it? Not Voice of America. What's that? USAID or something.
USAID or U.S. Information Service, yeah.
Yeah, well, that's what
USIA. USIA.
That's what Voice of America goes through.
Yeah.
They have agency
Yeah.
contingent. From a person with a Japanese name, apologizing for the intrusion, but explaining to us that they really did need the story.
To offset the dogs.
And
Gold
we
counter.
said, no, but we have not, I don't know about Bernard,
Uh-huh.
but I'm not checking. I got to see if they have this story, because it's going to do, I'm not too ridiculous out of it. Because we didn't give them the right to do the story. We were not going to do that.
Mm-hmm.
The response to that is we needed to have the legal piece in place, the civil rights piece in place.
Mm-hmm.
That could, they want to counteract it, then pass the laws, and with sufficient enforcement power, that would counteract the images of the dogs and hold us in Birmingham.
Mm.
But,
We don't
you know, we're-
counteract them. I mean, we want to just make it bigger than ever. You know, put it up on the, up on the screen in the sky or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
But you count
but
yourself,
the humanism that he talked about, there is a foot in the country.
and you count yourself a humanist.
I am a humanist.
She's a
I'm
humanist.
a secular humanist, but I'm a humanist. I'm not opposed to God. I believe.
Well, we didn't talk about it,
Yes.
so you don't know what I mean. And
Yes, I know,
what
but
you
I'm,
mean.
but I'm going to be sure that I'm a
Right,
secular
right,
humanist.
right.
But there's a movement afoot to really develop mass literacy programs in every area.
The new humanists. Harvard.
No, it's coming out of the communities,
Or
out of
you
black communities, out of white communities around this country. I'm doing it with the Richard Wright Centennial Program.
Oh yeah, you're going to that.
Yeah, the Richard Wright Centennial.
When is
Our
that?
design is to develop mass literacy, especially finance and economic literacies for black people.
Thank you.
Rich people. But also,
see, what we need is a kind of a humanist liberation theology.
all right, talk about it, brother.
You see?
How about a humanist
Liberation.
economic liberation
Well,
philosophy?
that's a part of the
That's
liberation.
already-
Yeah.
Yeah, that's. You see, economics is the extension of politics, and also the extension of psychology. Because
Yeah.
to be a capitalist, you have a very special psychological disposition. You must love money, and you do things in order to make more money, and you don't give a shit about people. You see? So this is, if you are a humanistic capitalist, so to say, you won't do that.
Do you think it's an
But you will
oxymoron?
probably not be very rich.
You think it's an oxymoron to be a humanist,
Humanistic
a real humanist capitalist?
Well,
Is it possible to be a humanistic
It
capitalist?
depends
That's
how
what-
you
Yeah, that's the question.
Depends how you define your words. You see, at this point, I adhere to a philosophy very few people who could accept or could even understand.
Mm-hmm.
I call this philosophy paradoxical wisdom. And you have to be really, how should I say, quite bright to see through that. Because it's very easy. Like when I was small, my philosophy was power, beauty, and health. And that was like ultimate. Then when I was about 16 till about 60, my main values were justice, freedom, and peace.
Mm-hmm.
And you say, oh, that's already the highest. Not true. It is. It's very, very, very positive, and certainly I will stand up for all these values, but it's not the highest. The highest is really seeing things from the point of view of this paradoxical philosophy, paradoxical wisdom, because it's unbelievable how the paradox works. And paradox is not a contradiction.
Okay.
See, a contradiction is like A is A and B is B, and there is no connection with them. But in the paradoxical thing, A is a pole of something, and B is the opposite pole of the same thing.
Yeah.
See, it's of light.
Dialectic, yeah.
See? And if you can see that, then you know that A can be a little bit B, B can be a little bit A, that there is a little bit of a Hitler in Gandhi, and there's a little bit Gandhi in Hitler. But of course, in Hitler, the Gandhi is almost non-existent, right? And in Gandhi, the Hitler is almost non-existent. But a little bit of it is there. And to admit that it is also possible that these qualities can develop, and that, let's say, today's German people who were murdering and torturing and doing terrible things are the same Germans. And if they come to America and you give them a job, they will be peaceful American patriots. You see? So the human side of existence, if you can see that, prevents you from hating and prevents you from having feelings that somehow minimize your mind and that affect your heart, because you have to be cool, you know, not just cool in a way that is makes you indifferent, but cool in that sense that it makes you see things as they are in reality, and not colored by some neurotic or psychotic feeling. So I think that a humanist movement that would humanize people, that would raise their consciousness of reality, could be very, very helpful, because
might be essential.
yeah. And so,
well, it's got to happen. It's got to happen in a way that the humanizing does not leave those who have been oppressed and abused.
And leave them oppressed and abused.
Yeah, no. The
sorry.
attempt to say, well, I'm going to humanize you with all of those burns on your body. So you're going for with the burns, yeah.
They don't humanize anyone. The humanization is to come from within.
Within, I understand that. But my whole point is, we're talking about that group. You know, it's like people talk about black folk and it's
Yeah. And
we're
indigenous.
at the bottom, so if you're talking about developing a system that tracks me forever at the bottom, but I'm supposed to be nice and sweet and go on and say, oh no, it's all over, as things are done, but I'm trapped in poverty.
Yeah.
Always
And
at
my
the very
people are,
bottom of a hierarchical system.
Yeah.
Of course, we would be talking about real humanism, you could not have hierarchy. But in African religion, there's always a balance between the secular and the sacred. There's always a balance between what we call good and
I would
evil.
like to know more about it. I have to
Yes,
know now.
yes, we have to do that at some point. There's always a balance.
Give me your name. And
I am going to do this. I'm going to write everything.
You definitely should be in touch
But I
with
got to
each
get
other.
your card. Is that it over there?
No, that's the thing. He's going to give a talk on the 13th. Are you going to be in
I'm
town?
going to be in Haiti.
You're going to be where?
Haiti.
Haiti. Oh, you're going down to Haiti. How long are you
keep
going
not
for?
listening to me.
I'm sorry, honey. There's so much going on. How long are you going down to Haiti for?
Let me get him.
Absolutely.
From the 12th probably to about the 18th. I've been invited
18th
along
of
with
December?
December.
Okay, then we're having a party here, you understand?
Okay.
On the 19th, the day
I'll be
after
back
you
for
get...
that.
Okay, you come to that party because one year we had 1,000 people through this loft.
Is that like the Christmas party?
That's a holiday party. We can't say Christmas because it's also, you know,
So many other
everybody's holiday. But it's a holiday. It's the 19th is a Friday.
It's a humanist holiday.
It's a humanist holiday. It's a humanist holiday here on earth. Yeah. But you'll want to come to that party, Cola. I hope you got that down. Did you write it down in your diary there?
I'll remember it.
Okay. That's good. You got a good memory. Are you going to come to our party, Paul?
Yeah.
Good. Okay. That's, we're getting ready for that. We got all this work we put together. Did I tell you my sister's in town?
Did she get here?
She's my dear sister. She's come from
I
St.
didn't
Louis.
get a chance to ask you about her.
No, she couldn't come. She called me today, and she was so nervous about coming to New York with 13 of her family members that they've been planning. That she hadn't slept a wink last night,
Yeah.
so she's
That's
going
a
to.
long time, 20 years.
Yeah, I
I
know.
hope you can read that by writing this.
Is Joseph associated with
You read
ethical
that.
culture?
Are you associated with
Yes,
ethical
because
culture, Joseph?
President.
Are you associated with ethical culture? Paul asked.
Well, I was on the board of directors of the Humanist Institute,
Well, I come to your church one of these days.
where the ethical culture people are also, part of it.
I thought I wasn't clear about their relationship. I thought they identified themselves with humanism.
Yeah, but this is the anachronistic humanism.
Ah,
See, because this is not this is the 20th century humanism, which was very good, but 21st century humanism has a different dynamic, and that's what I'm working on.
Good for you.
I was the president
Wonderful.
of the largest humanist society in the country, in the Humanist Society of Greater New York, and I was, deeply involved. So I'm pretty much.
Lang and all of those people I work with at the State University.
He was with
And
Martin
it's
Buber.
not necessarily.
You know, Ian Dow. Did you get into Buber? Buber was a monster.
No,
Philosopher.
that's a wonderful humanist.
Yeah, yeah. I'd count myself a humanist.
Yeah, I think but most of people who
Unitarian,
struggles
yeah,
are
yeah,
humanistic.
yeah.
Most people.
So
In this country, anyway.
let me get
Unless
this.
you're right wing struggle.
When are you leaving?
I leave on the 11th, and I've
Of
got
this
what I have decided to do. They invited me.
Who was the founder?
They invited,
Would not be
4
very
people
happy if he
that
would
I
see
know.
us. So, yeah.
but there's about 30 organizations that are meeting in Haiti.
Okay.
You know, it's occupied by the United Nations.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, hurricane after hurricane is
I
devastating.
know, awful, just awful.
But the killings of the people by UN troops, especially the Brazilians, racism, all of this on top of what's been going on there historically. And so I was very happy and pleased that I've been selected by
Yes,
whoever.
good.
And so I'm going, and I asked myself, fact-minding, yes, that's one thing, but can you find some context? I've talked with 3 other people, one of whom was my son, who's a lawyer, finance lawyer, in fact. And so each of us have decided to take on an area, and I'm going to look at women and children.
Good for you, dear.
And so what I'm looking at right now is using that presence in Haiti as an opportunity to do some serious study, some serious research on what is happening. I'm talking with the UN people.
Good for
hopefully,
you.
on the ground there, hopefully talking with some of the troops that they'll let me. But also talking with all areas of Haiti, focusing on women and
You
children.
gonna do any video?
I want to do a major video.
Okay.
And taking each of the people, who's a woman out of Kentucky is going to be looking at culture and hurricanes and blah, blah, blah. My son is looking at the economic system. And the brother out of Delaware State University is going to be looking at history and
Yeah.
impact on the present.
That's good. You been there
What I
before?
would like to know, I've never been there.
Okay, good. Yeah.
I'm just really excited about it. I don't speak a word of French, but they have
Creole.
people on the ground who will be translating in Portuguese, the French, and the Spanish.
Good.
Well, it's an entertainment. Well, it's a thought entertainment show.
So what I want to
It's a
do is
mental
be able to come back
entertainment
and look at each of our parts. First of all, look at the general piece on
So it's somewhat of a
the
comical
crisis
show.
in Haiti, and then look at each of the presentations.
Great. Don't go away. Wait a minute. Let me hear what they're saying here.
It's free floating. Check it out sometime.
Okay. You have a card or something?
No,
Yeah.
I didn't bring anything with me.
So write it on a piece of paper.
Okay.
Yeah, exchange information, you two.
Did you
Paul's
need a
got
piece of
a
paper? Because I have some extra here.
Paul's got a really interesting thing called word space that is really
Yeah, I'll get
interesting.
to it.
He's more. How is that coming, Paul? You working on that stuff?
I was going to talk to you about it, but I never get around to it.
I know. I'm sorry. I talk too much
I got some things.
about inconsequential things where you're doing something
Confess it.
consequential.
Here, Paul.
So you're looking for funny people?
No, I'm just,
That's the backside of the darn thing. Wait a minute.
I kind of generate that show.
You yourself are on the show.
So anyway, I've got to find equipment.
I kind of generate that show.
And I was listening to people saying
I
this
hope
is
so.
working.
I hope so. No, I don't. It's mostly
You know,
I've got to get the name of that place you were telling me about. Where
no, I don't think of that. Don't think of that for that. I don't think, unless you can get. I don't know if you have any money or not, but if you get, you'd want to get a little camera like this.
I have a camera like that.
You do, and it's mini DV.
Not your president.
Yeah, it's small. It sits up on the table at the house. It's about like that.
That's where you can get your acquisition footage on.
Like the president, but he's
You can
not.
get acquisition. Just buy a bunch of tape.
It's about what to take for that.
Yeah, and then get your acquisition footage. You'll have the footage you'll have that can be putting it into a documentary or something.
Right.
But you don't need more than this in order to get. The cameras are so good, and they're so simple.
But I want to get one of my own, so I want to go to that place you were telling me about, see what they've got.
Well, let me make sure we got the same thing in mind. What I was talking about is the place for materials for the arts,
Right.
and that's the thing for around Queens. And what they have is it's a recycling thing. It's really good because they have people contributing huge amounts of stuff,
On Thursdays at 8
and then they make it all available free to people, which is a good price. And if you go out there, you're not sure what you're going to find. They're going to find
Could be anything.
boards or paints or things that would be relative to the arts. It's for the arts. But they got 35,000 square feet of shelves, and you just go in there like to an A&P, and they got stuff. And if you fill out the forms right and you got the card, then you can go and you put it in your basket like A&P store. You go out and everything's totally free. So you might find something that would be relevant to what you're going to do.
All right.
But I don't think you should depend on it
I
for
want to
your
depend
trip.
on it. No.
No, you should be
No.
thinking.
We're not depending on anything for this.
You want what you want to get, Coley, is a lot of tape and an what do you call this? It's mini DV camcorder, and you say you got that,
My son has it.
and a little tripod,
I'm not as far.
and a battery that can go, and then that's what you get your footage on. Label the tapes carefully so you know what's there. If you can keep an index of it, good. And that's what you need for what you're going to be doing. You don't need anything more than that, because you're going to be getting what they call acquisition footage.
So I don't need a camera at all.
That is the camera. This is a
I know
camera.
that's a camera, but I don't just need a regular flash camera or some camera.
Oh, a digital camera would be nice for pictures if you can. I mean, because that's also very accessible. I mean, you don't have to be hoping you get it at materials for the arts. Think of that long term. You'll be going out there sometime and there's something.
I want to go out there and take a look at it, because if I could find something out there.
Well, very interesting discussion. I was most
30 was. I can give you the address and all that if you want. I don't have it. It's 3301.
Be well and have a good
I
time.
couldn't get out of my seat. It was so interesting.
I know. Wasn't it interesting? Aren't they beautiful? Aren't they beautiful?
Be back around the 18th.
Very worthwhile.
And she'll be at the party.
Yeah, she will be at the party.
Of course, she's coming to my party. 19th. It's like a tsunami in my
What
consciousness.
day is it?
It's a Friday.
19?
Yeah.
I have my lecture the third. If it's the third Friday of the month.
Yes, it is. Give your lecture and then come to the party.
After the lecture.
The 1 year they were here, 1,000 people. We counted through the course of the night. Interesting people, ambassadors all the way down to whatever, and they're all here. And they didn't leave. The last people didn't leave until 11 a.m. the next day. I was exhausted, but it's really good because you got a really
This
wide.
year it's going to be nonstop. It's going to be all year.
Oh no! No! Don't say that. No, it makes Katrina look simple to my consciousness.
Okay, then you give me 33011.
No, let me get it for sure for you because I'll get it off the web. Okay, so don't go. So are we going to close down the camera now?
I would think so.
Yeah, unless anybody else got anything got, okay, say goodnight. Say goodnight. Tell them you're going to Haiti. Thank you, Joe. So good to see you, my brother. Say hello to Allison, right? Say hello to your lovely wife. And so good to see you. I'm really glad you got here. You got to use two of them.
Well, very good discussion.
It's really easier. It's easier.
Yeah. You don't need a walker, right?
No, it's not that bad. And it will get better. You know, it's just because of some reason it's not happening.
Sing, sister, sing. Sing.
In thee, that land.
So,
You look good, you look good.
I'm okay. I'm okay, except I'm overworked. Like that.
bothering me.
My sister's coming. I'll probably see her tomorrow after about two
What's your
decades.
first name?
Shirley. Shirley will come.
Wait a minute, is this the last of these cards?
What's that is? No. You can have that. You got more of these cards. Joseph, you got more of these cards about your 13?
Which one?
The one, this.
So I'll give it to somebody who's in
You got
town.
some more here. Yeah. Can you give us some? We pass them around.
Yeah.
Where are they? Did you leave them or did you take them?
He picked them up.
Yeah.
Here. Do you have more at home?
Yeah.
Give us some and we'll get it around, okay?
Bye, everybody.
And she'll get goodbye.
Bye-bye. I'm coming right behind you. I find what I did with my jacket.
Okay. Get home safe and everything.
I'll do that.
You keep up the word space. That's good.
What if they hide my jacket?
Okay, here's your lot of cards.
Thank you.
And I'll have these for me.
Very good. He's wonderful. Yes.
Yeah. So, okay, I'll get that address for if you come with me.
I am. I'll come in with you. And I can get my jacket and the ladies' room. Wait a minute. Is the toilet up here to my left?
There is
that
one
right?
there. Yeah, there's one. Go.
Let me run up there first, and then I'm coming.
Yeah.
You know, I would like to show you my Jesus.
I would love to see it.
Like you should maybe find
How long is it now? It's about
Well, it's almost 2 hours.
2 hours. I'd love to make.
I can shorten it.
No, you don't have to do that, but maybe we could set up a time.
Yeah.
You come over and watch. It's on tape, right?
Yeah, it's a DVD.
Oh, DVD. I'd love to see it. Yeah. Because
Other people who want to.
maybe we could try to
Quite a
set something.
unique thing. It's
Maybe after the first of the year. See, everything's going to be very focused for me because it's Dan Hardy. His party's coming. That's a big thing.
you know.
The holidays, it's almost you give up you're doing anything in a way, but after the first of the year, I would love to do that. And I really want to try and get to that thing on the 13th.
Don't expect numbers.
Well, it's Joseph and David. I'll tell you, I expect a lot. No, I mean, it's just I would love to. If I can get there, I sure would want to. That's for sure. Okay. That's the end of the meeting for now. And okay, so now we'll turn this off if we can figure out how. Okay.